Is there objection?
Yeah, Mr. President.
Senator from Arkansas.
I'll reserve the right to object because here we are again, 2 weeks later, and nothing's changed. The Democrats in the Department of Justice, once again, want their well-connected and wealthy political nominees confirmed while the Department of Justice hangs out to dry 4 career law enforcement officers and threatens them with fiscal ruin and bankruptcy. The senator from Illinois said, I'm having none of it. You're absolutely right, I'm having none of it. These officers, I remind you, faced down left-wing street militias for months in Portland. They were attacked with blinding lasers, ball bearings, Molotov cocktails. There was efforts to lock them into the courthouse and set it afire and burn them alive. Now, the senator from Illinois keeps saying that my objections are completely unrelated, that was his words, or nothing to do with these nominees. We've heard this now for weeks. I don't know why he keeps repeating it. I'll give my answer once again. I'm not making an objection to some random unconnected agency. I'm not upset that the Corps of Engineers didn't approve a water project in Arkansas. I'm not making some doomed to fail demand like Merrick Garland should resign in disgrace, though he should. I'm making a very specific point about this department. If Merrick Garland and the Democrats want their political nominees to be confirmed on a fast-track basis, then they need to protect their career law enforcement officers from financial ruin and bankruptcy. I've talked to these officers. The anxiety and the stress that this has created for them is real. They have received no explanation whatsoever beyond not in the interest of the United States. That is not an explanation, that is a conclusion. 3 of them haven't heard anything at all. It's been months, actually more than a year. The senator from Illinois said the Department of Justice often represents law enforcement officers sued for actions in the line of duty. It's not often represents, it's almost always represents. I've spoken with multiple former Department of Justice leaders. They say they cannot remember a time when they declined to represent a law enforcement officer sued for actions in the line of duty. The senator from Illinois, once again, waves around the idea of a privacy waiver like it's a big gotcha or something. I don't have a privacy waiver. But I know what these officers would say. They'd say, we have no idea what the department would tell us. So if the senator from Illinois would like me to be a good bureaucrat and run off and get a privacy waiver, I guess I could do that. And then once they gave it to me, I'd ask them, why'd you get denied coverage? And they'd say, I don't know, they won't tell us anything. The point of the matter here is that career law enforcement officers are being hung out to dry and facing financial ruin, and they cannot get an answer. We cannot get an answer. Now, is it possible they engaged in misconduct? Sure. It happens. However, I note, as I did last time, that all 4 officers are under unrestricted active duty. Unrestricted active duty. 3 are in the Special Operations Group. 1 is in the Warrant Group. Both assignments likely to result in situations where the threat of violence and even lethal violence is high. If these officers somehow acted inappropriately in Portland to the point we can't represent them when they're sued by left-wing activists, surely they shouldn't be serving high-risk warrants. Surely they shouldn't be out on the street in the Special Operations Group. So I can only infer that's not the case. The Department of Justice won't tell us anything more. They won't tell these officers anything more. None of these facts has changed. Nothing in 2 weeks. The only thing we know, that we didn't know 2 weeks ago actually, is that 3 of these marshals received an award for their service in Portland. This is the award that was given out to marshals who risked their lives in defense of the federal courthouse in Portland. I blurred out the names to protect the safety of those marshals, but I assure you, their names are on there. They received an award for their service. They're being sued for that very service, and the Department of Justice won't represent them. They deserve answers. The senator from Illinois said that last night the president spoke about funding the police after the Democrats spoke for years about defunding the police. Well, I have a suggestion. How about funding these officers' legal defenses? How about that for funding the police? Stand by the law enforcement officers who did their job and who can't not get an explanation for why Merrick Garland is not standing by them. And until that happens, I guess we can keep coming down here every week or 2 weeks, because they deserve to be represented, or we deserve a credible, fact-based explanation. Now, I'm just one senator. I can't block these people forever. We could have a vote on them. We were in session yesterday for 10 hours. We didn't have a single vote. On Monday night, we voted on late-term partial birth abortion. These are so important, we could have a vote on them. Or the Department of Justice could just do what it should, which is right and moral. It should represent law enforcement officers who are being sued for actions in the line of duty, or it should give them an explanation for why they're not. So, Mr. President, I do object, and I'll continue to object until that happens.